Have you ever felt that chilling certainty? That gut-wrenching feeling that something was terribly wrong, even when no one else noticed? Imagine a violent thunderstorm, the deafening roar of rain, thunder cracking overhead, shaking the ground beneath you. And, in the middle of it all, inside a forgotten, crumbling building, a life slowly fading. Today, you'll meet Rocky, a tiny beagle, injured, trapped, and utterly alone, fighting against time and a merciless storm. Minutes dragged on, each breath a desperate struggle. Hope? Gone. But it was in that moment of absolute despair that an extraordinary heart found its purpose. This isn't just a story of rescue. It's about the unbreakable, unexpected bond that saved one life and utterly transformed another. Get ready for a profound journey of courage, compassion, and the power to change destiny. This is the story you needed to hear. Share your own rescue moment in the comments below. We love hearing about the incredible connections you've made, the lives you've touched, and the bonds you've forged. Your stories inspire us all. Before hope could even glimmer, before any warmth could penetrate the icy grip of despair, there was only one thing: sheer, overwhelming danger. A danger that Emma, a dedicated veterinary technician with a deep love for animals, was about to discover on her solitary drive home. Emma's windshield wipers fought against the torrential rain as she drove home from her veterinary shift. Through the storm, the abandoned textile mill appeared like a dark fortress, its broken windows staring into the night. A faint whimper cut through the storm's roar. Emma stopped the car immediately, grabbed her flashlight, and stepped into the freezing rain. The sound came from the mill. Inside the collapsed section, she found him. Rocky, a small beagle, skeletal and shivering, with one twisted paw and a deep gash on his side. His wide eyes reflected the flashlight beam, pleading silently. Water was rising around him. The rain began to fall heavier now, thick, cold sheets plastering themselves against the crumbling walls, blurring the world into a watery, indistinct haze. The wind picked up, howling with renewed ferocity, tearing through the broken windows, a stark, brutal reminder of the unforgiving conditions. Emma knew, with a chilling, undeniable certainty, that this little dog wouldn't last much longer out here. The building groaned again, a deep, unsettling sound, as if threatening to collapse further. The floor was already covered in a thin layer of water, steadily rising. Rocky was a tiny, vulnerable island in a sea of unforgiving cold and encroaching floodwaters, a beacon of suffering in the desolate, dangerous structure. The thought of leaving him there, of simply driving away and letting nature take its brutal course, was unbearable, a weight settling heavily in Emma's chest, a moral burden she couldn't ignore. This wasn't just a dog in distress. It was a life hanging by the thinnest of threads, a silent, desperate cry for protection against an indifferent, cruel world. The seconds stretched, heavy with the weight of the impending storm, and the crumbling building, each one pushing Rocky closer to the edge, closer to the point of no return, his tiny whimpers barely audible over the storm's mournful cry. Emma didn't hesitate. She couldn't leave him here to die. Hit that like button to support more incredible rescue stories. Subscribe to Eternal Bonds for life-changing content that celebrates courage and compassion. And share this with someone who truly loves dogs and believes in second chances. She took another hesitant step forward, her heart pounding a frantic rhythm against her ribs, a drumbeat of urgency in the frigid air. The faint whimper came again, a tiny beacon in the swirling rain and crumbling debris, guiding her towards the impossible truth of a life teetering on the brink. Emma stood there, the biting wind whipping around her, tugging at her rain-soaked clothes, the cold rain plastering her hair to her face. Her mind raced, a whirlwind of thoughts battling against the raw, primal instinct screaming at her to help. She was just Emma, a veterinary technician, a woman who spent her days caring for animals in a sterile, controlled environment, not facing life or death situations in a collapsing, abandoned building during a raging thunderstorm. She knew, with a chilling certainty, that she could simply turn around, get back in her car, and drive away. No one would ever know she had seen the little dog. Countless others had probably driven past this very spot, oblivious, or perhaps indifferent to the suffering huddled within those crumbling walls. But the image of those wide, terrified eyes, the sheer vulnerability emanating from that tiny, shivering form, it was a silent, desperate plea she wouldn't ignore. Her heart pounded. This wasn't just a dog, it was a life teetering on the edge, a fragile spark that desperately needed protection, a second chance, a chance at a future. "Oh, you poor, poor thing," Emma murmured, her voice barely audible above the relentless howl of the wind and the drumming rain, thick with genuine concern, a profound empathy welling up inside her. It was a split-second decision, a surge of pure, unadulterated compassion, overriding logic, overriding fear, compelling her to stop. Her instinct, honed by years of quiet empathy and a deep understanding of animal suffering, told her she couldn't leave Rocky to face the elements alone. This was a moment of true courage, not the kind found in epic tales of knights and dragons, but the quiet, profound courage of an ordinary person choosing to make an extraordinary difference. She thought of her own warm home, her comfortable sofa, the hot tea waiting for her. And then she thought of Rocky, freezing, injured, alone, with no hope, no shelter, no one. The contrast was stark, undeniable, a moral imperative that resonated deep within her soul. The wind howled again, a mournful cry that seemed to echo Rocky's own silent suffering. Emma pulled her rain jacket tighter, but the cold was no longer just physical. It was a chilling realization of the immense vulnerability she was witnessing. She thought of all the animals she had cared for, all the lives she had touched, and wondered if this was her moment to truly embody the compassion she preached, not with words in a clinic, but with action in the real world. The weight of that decision, the sheer responsibility of it, settled heavily upon her. She wasn't a hero, just a woman who loved animals. But in this moment, a different kind of story was unfolding, one that demanded her participation. "Hey there, Rocky," she whispered, moving slowly toward him. Every gesture was open, unthreatening, trying to convey safety, not menace to the terrified animal. She knew that a scared, desperate animal could be unpredictable, could lash out in fear, especially with an injury, but her compassion outweighed any personal risk. The chill of the air seemed to amplify the silence between them, broken only by the relentless drumming of the rain and the frantic beat of her own heart. She knelt down, slowly, carefully, mindful not to make any sudden movements that might startle the tiny beagle further, her gloved hands trembling slightly from the cold and the tension. The air was thick with the smell of damp concrete, rust, and fear. Rocky growled weakly, but his exhausted eyes showed a flicker of hope. His eyes, though still wide with apprehension, held a glimmer of something else now, a desperate, almost imperceptible plea for help, for warmth, for an end to the suffering. He was torn between the primal urge to flee from this large, unknown human and the overwhelming, desperate need for warmth, safety, and salvation, a silent battle playing out in his small, exhausted mind. Emma remained motionless, her gaze steady, trying to convey a silent message of peace and safety. She could see the conflict in Rocky's eyes, the deep-seated fear battling with a desperate, almost primal longing for warmth and comfort. It was a delicate dance, a silent negotiation between two beings, one offering salvation, the other weighing the immense risk of trust. The air was thick with unspoken questions, with the fragile hope that hung between them. Emma knew that any sudden move, any misstep, could shatter this fragile connection and send Rocky fleeing deeper into the unforgiving, dangerous ruins. Emma slowly extended a gloved hand, palm open, offering no threat, only the promise of gentle contact, a lifeline in the storm. "It's okay, little one," she whispered, her voice a soothing balm against the harsh wind and rain, a beacon in the darkness. "I'm not going to hurt you. I just want to help you. You're safe with me. I promise." She held her breath, waiting, every fiber of her being focused on the small dog, on the delicate balance of trust. The seconds stretched into an eternity, heavy with unspoken communication, with the weight of a life hanging in the balance. Rocky's tiny nose twitched, sniffing the air, assessing the strange, warm scent of this human, a scent that spoke of kindness, of hope. His ears, which had been flattened against his head in submission, perked slightly, then flattened again. A silent struggle between fear and a desperate longing for comfort. What would you do in this exact situation? Tell us below. Would you brave the storm and the crumbling building? Would you try to help? Or would the fear of the unknown, the danger of the storm, compel you to seek safety elsewhere? We want to hear your thoughts, your own moments of decision, your own acts of courage. The air crackled with unspoken questions, with the weight of the moment. Would trust be found in this desolate, dangerous place? Would Emma's courage be enough to overcome the deep-seated fear that had clearly been Rocky's constant companion for too long? Emma knew this was a critical, delicate moment. She couldn't force the rescue. Rocky had to choose to accept help, to take that leap of faith, to surrender to the promise of safety. She remained perfectly still, a silent, patient presence amidst the rain and crumbling debris, offering only kindness, only the promise of warmth and safety. She could feel the cold seeping into her own bones, numbing her fingers and toes, making them ache, but she wouldn't move. Not yet. Not until Rocky gave her some undeniable sign, some flicker of acceptance, some indication that her efforts were not in vain. Then, almost imperceptibly, Rocky's shivering lessened, just for a moment, a tiny pause in the relentless tremors, a fragile sign of hope. His eyes, still wary, seemed to hold Emma's gaze for a fraction of a second longer, a silent acknowledgement, a tentative connection. It was a tiny shift, a subtle change, but to Emma it felt like a monumental breakthrough, a crack in the wall of his fear, a glimmer of light in the overwhelming darkness. It was a sign, a fragile thread of hope in the vast, cold darkness. She knew, with absolute certainty, that she couldn't leave this little dog. The commitment solidified in her heart, a warm, resolute certainty that filled her with purpose. "I'm not leaving you," Emma murmured, her voice firm, resolute, cutting through the wind and rain, a promise whispered into the storm, a vow to a life she barely knew. "We're doing this. We're getting you out of here. You're coming with me. You're safe now." In that silent, tense standoff, Emma made her choice, a choice that would change both their lives forever. The rescue, the true act of salvation, was about to begin. With the unwavering decision made, Emma knew she had to act swiftly, yet with the utmost care and precision. The storm raged, making every movement a challenge, every step uncertain on the slippery, debris-strewn floor. She couldn't just grab Rocky. The little beagle was clearly terrified, exhausted, and might bite out of fear or bolt deeper into the dangerous, unseen ruins, disappearing into the darkness. Emma remembered the thick, soft blanket she kept in her car for emergencies, a comforting thought in the brutal cold. She moved slowly back to her vehicle, her eyes fixed on Rocky, who watched her with a mixture of lingering fear and that nascent, fragile curiosity, a tiny head cocked to the side. The car door creaked open, a blast of warm air momentarily escaping, carrying the scent of leather and warmth, then closed with a soft thud, sealing the warmth inside. Emma returned, clutching the blanket, its softness a stark contrast to the harsh, unforgiving environment. "Okay, little guy," she whispered, her voice low and soothing, trying to cut through the relentless roar of the wind and rain to reach the terrified animal. "This is going to be okay, I promise, just a little bit more." She carefully extended the blanket, unfolding it slowly, deliberately, creating a soft, inviting barrier between them and the harsh, icy ground. She spoke continuously, a gentle stream of reassurances, explaining her every move, her every intention, building a bridge of trust with her words. "See? Just a warm blanket. For you. To get warm. To be safe." She nudged it closer, just within Rocky's reach, then knelt again, patiently waiting, her breath pluming in the frigid air. The cold was seeping through her thick gloves, numbing her fingers, making them ache, but she ignored it. Her focus was entirely, absolutely, on the small, trembling life before her, on the monumental task of bringing him to safety. She carefully positioned the blanket, ensuring it created a soft, inviting path towards her. The rain continued to fall, accumulating rapidly, threatening to flood the entire section of the building. Emma worked with a quiet intensity, her movements precise, her focus absolute. She knew time was a luxury they didn't have. Every second counted, every small action a step closer to salvation. She could feel the cold biting at her exposed skin, but the urgency of the situation pushed any discomfort aside. The air was thick with the smell of damp earth and decaying wood, and the constant drip of water from the crumbling ceiling added to the oppressive atmosphere. Rocky, though still hesitant, his small body trembling, finally nudged the blanket with his nose. A tiny, almost imperceptible sniff, a tentative exploration. It was a small victory, a breakthrough moment, a sign of burgeoning trust, a crack in the wall. Emma saw it, a flicker of hope in the dog's wide, wary eyes. But then, a sudden, violent gust of wind ripped through the broken windows, dislodging a large, rusted piece of metal from the ceiling, sending it crashing dangerously close to Rocky. The beagle yelped, a high-pitched sound of pure terror, recoiling deeper into his tight ball, his fear reignited, his progress momentarily undone. Emma reacted instantly, instinctively shielding Rocky with her own body, the sharp edge of the debris narrowly missing her arm, a chilling reminder of the constant, unpredictable peril. "Whoa, easy there, little guy," she said, her voice steady despite the adrenaline surge, despite the near miss. "I've got you. You're safe. I won't let anything happen." This was the first significant obstacle, a stark, brutal reminder of the unforgiving environment and the fragility of life within it. Emma knew she needed to create a more secure, more enclosed space, something that offered a sense of true protection, a temporary sanctuary. She scanned the immediate area, her eyes piercing through the gloom, searching for anything, any small advantage, any piece of discarded material that could help. A few feet away, almost buried by rubble, she spotted a large, sturdy wooden crate, surprisingly intact, a small miracle in itself. It wasn't much, but it was better than nothing, a potential haven from the wind and falling debris. She carefully retrieved it, shaking off the water and dust, and placed it on its side, creating a makeshift shelter, a small dark den that might offer the illusion of security. She then gently pushed the soft blanket inside, creating a warm, inviting nest, a promise of comfort. "Come on, Rocky," she coaxed, using the name she'd instinctively given the dog, a name that already felt right, a name that carried the weight of hope. "Just a little bit closer. It's warm in here. You'll be safe. You can trust me." She sat back on her heels, giving Rocky space, allowing the dog to approach on his own terms, without pressure, without force. The minutes ticked by, each one feeling like an hour, heavy with anticipation, with the silent plea of the storm. The rain continued to fall, relentless and heavy, threatening to flood the entire area, to erase their presence from the desolate building. Emma shivered, the cold now a deep ache in her bones, her muscles stiffening, but her determination was unwavering, a burning ember in her chest. She wasn't leaving. Not now. Not after coming this far, not after witnessing Rocky's desperate struggle, not after making that promise. Emma's voice, though soft, carried a profound conviction, a steady anchor in the chaos of the storm. She imagined the warmth of her clinic, the comfort of her home, and channeled that energy into her silent plea to Rocky. She knew this was a test of patience, a battle of wills against deep-seated trauma. She waited, her breath pluming in the frigid air, her eyes never leaving the small, huddled form, willing Rocky to take that final, courageous step towards safety. The silence stretched, broken only by the relentless wind and the drip of water, until finally the miracle began to unfold. Then it happened. The turning point. The moment that shifted everything, that broke the spell of fear. Rocky, after a long, tense moment of internal debate, a silent battle between instinct and desperation, slowly, tentatively began to uncurl. His small head lifted, his eyes fixed on Emma, a silent question in their depths, a flicker of curiosity overcoming terror. He took one hesitant step, then another, dragging his matted fur through the water, his tiny paws leaving faint imprints. He reached the edge of the wooden crate, sniffed cautiously, his nose twitching, assessing the new scent of safety, of warmth, and then, with a soft whimper of what sounded like pure, unadulterated relief, he crawled inside, burrowing deep into the soft blanket. It was a miracle, a tiny victory against overwhelming odds, a testament to the power of trust, a moment of profound breakthrough. Emma let out a breath she hadn't realized she was holding, a long, shaky exhale of pure relief. A weight lifted from her shoulders. "That's it, buddy," Emma whispered, her voice thick with emotion, a tremor of joy running through her. "You're safe now. You're finally safe. We did it." Rocky, once a rigid ball of fear, now relaxed, his small body visibly softening as the warmth of the blanket began to penetrate his frozen fur, thawing him from the inside out. His ears, which had been flattened against his head in terror, perked slightly, then swiveled, listening to the quiet sounds of the night, and a deep, shuddering sigh escaped his chest. It was the moment he realized he was being saved. Not harmed, not abandoned again, but truly rescued. His eyes, once wide with terror, softened, a flicker of understanding replacing the fear, a nascent spark of hope, a profound shift. His tail, which had been tucked tight against his body, gave a tentative, almost imperceptible wag, a fragile flag of burgeoning hope, a silent thank you, a promise of a future. Emma knew she couldn't leave Rocky in the crate in the abandoned building, even if it was a temporary haven. The next crucial step was getting him safely into the car, into true warmth and shelter, and then to her clinic for medical attention. She moved slowly, gently, reaching into the crate, her hand extended in a gesture of continued reassurance. Rocky tensed again, a fleeting memory of fear, but this time, instead of growling or recoiling, he leaned into Emma's touch, a tiny trusting gesture that spoke volumes, a silent acceptance. Emma carefully scooped him up, blanket and all, holding him close, feeling the fragile warmth of the small body against her chest. Rocky was surprisingly light, his bones sharp beneath the matted fur, a stark, heartbreaking reminder of how close he had come to the end, how much he had suffered. She tucked Rocky securely into the passenger seat, wrapping the blanket tightly around him, creating a warm, safe cocoon, a sanctuary from the storm, a promise of a new beginning. The engine hummed to life, a comforting sound, the heater blasting warm air, slowly melting the last vestiges of ice from Rocky's fur. The little beagle, nestled deep in the blanket, shivered once more, but this time it was a shiver of release, of thawing, not cold. He looked up at Emma, his eyes now soft, almost sleepy, a profound sense of relief washing over his tiny face, a visible relaxation. The journey from the desolate, crumbling building to the warmth and safety of the car was complete. The successful extraction was more than just a physical act. It was the undeniable beginning of a new life, a powerful testament to determination, compassion, and the enduring power of a second chance. Emma put the car in drive, slowly pulling back onto the rain-slicked road. The thunderstorm raged outside, a furious, watery chaos, but inside, a quiet warmth had begun to bloom. A fragile hope taking root, a new chapter unfolding. The little beagle, Rocky, was safe. The rescue was done. But the transformation, the true miracle, was only just beginning. The drive to Emma's home was quiet, save for the gentle hum of the heater and the soft, rhythmic breathing of Rocky, now deeply, peacefully asleep in the passenger seat. The transformation was already remarkable, even in these first few minutes of safety. Gone was the rigid fear that had gripped Rocky, the constant trembling, the wide, haunted eyes, replaced by a profound softness in his posture, a subtle relaxation of his taut muscles. His eyes, once haunted by terror and desperation, now held a newfound clarity, a spark of life returning, reflecting the gentle glow of the dashboard lights, a promise of peace and contentment. He was no longer just a shivering, desperate creature clinging to life. He was a living, breathing being, finally finding a moment of true, unburdened peace, a sense of security he had never known. Upon arriving home, Emma carefully carried Rocky inside, the warmth of her house a stark, welcoming contrast to the biting cold and swirling rain outside. The scent of warm wood and the faint, comforting smell of her own dogs filled the air, a comforting embrace. She gently placed the blanket-wrapped beagle on a soft, plush dog bed she kept in her living room, a perfect spot by the fireplace. Rocky stirred, his tiny nose twitching, taking in the new smells of warmth, safety, and the comforting scent of home, a symphony of new sensations. Emma then brought a bowl of fresh, cool water and a small plate of soft, wet dog food, placing them gently nearby, an offering of sustenance and care, a silent promise of nourishment. The soft glow of the living room lamp cast a warm, inviting light, a stark contrast to the harsh glare of the car's headlights just moments before. Emma watched, her heart swelling with a quiet sense of triumph, as Rocky tentatively approached the food and water. The little beagle's body, once rigid with tension, began to visibly relax, his small shoulders dropping, his tail giving a tiny, almost imperceptible wag as he took his first sips of water. It was a moment of profound relief, a visible sign that the immediate danger was truly over, and a new chapter had begun. Rocky, initially hesitant, his instincts still wary, slowly lifted his head. He sniffed the food, then the water, his small tail giving a tentative, almost imperceptible wag, a fragile acknowledgement of the hope that was slowly, tentatively, taking root. He began to drink, long, desperate gulps, his small body absorbing the much-needed hydration, then turned to the food, eating slowly at first, then with more urgency, as if afraid it would disappear, a memory of hunger still fresh and painful. This was an instant shift from despair to profound relief, almost unbelievable in its speed, a visible testament to the power of immediate care and kindness. Emma watched, a wave of profound relief washing over her, a quiet joy blooming in her chest, a sense of accomplishment. She could almost feel Rocky's gratitude, a silent "thank you," in every relaxed breath, in every soft, contented gaze, a bond forming without words. As Rocky ate, his entire demeanor continued to shift, evolving with each mouthful, each moment of safety. His ears, which had been flattened against his head in fear, now perked up, swiveling slightly as he listened to the quiet, comforting sounds of the house, the gentle ticking of a clock, the distant hum of the refrigerator. He no longer flinched at Emma's sudden movements. Instead, he tentatively nudged Emma's hand with his nose, seeking comfort, seeking connection. A soft whimper of contentment replacing his earlier growls and whimpers of distress. His body, once tense and rigid, now relaxed completely, sinking into the soft dog bed, a picture of utter peace, a profound surrender to safety. This was a visible, instant change, a remarkable transformation, a testament to the power of a safe environment and a kind, gentle touch, a true rebirth. He even began to explore the immediate vicinity of the dog bed, sniffing at Emma's slippers, nudging a discarded toy with his nose, his curiosity slowly overcoming his caution. Emma offered a gentle hand, and Rocky, instead of flinching, tentatively licked her fingers, a warm, wet touch that sent a wave of emotion through Emma. It was a small gesture, but it spoke volumes, a silent declaration of trust and burgeoning affection. The transformation was not just physical, it was a profound shift in spirit, a testament to the healing power of kindness and safety. Later that evening, as Emma settled on the sofa with a warm blanket, engrossed in a book, the quiet hum of the house a comforting backdrop, Rocky, now fed, warm, and rested, slowly, deliberately, crawled out of his bed. He padded over to Emma, and with a soft sigh, rested his head on Emma's lap, a gesture of profound, undeniable trust, a silent declaration of allegiance. The warmth of Rocky's fur against Emma's leg was a tangible sign of the connection forming, a silent conversation of gratitude and acceptance, a bond solidifying with every shared breath, every quiet moment. Emma gently stroked Rocky's head, feeling the soft fur, the steady, peaceful beat of the dog's heart. Rocky sighed again, a deep, contented sound, and closed his eyes, drifting into a peaceful, deep sleep, utterly secure, utterly at home. This was the moment the bond truly began to solidify, to become something real and tangible, an unbreakable connection. The fear was gone, completely replaced by an unwavering sense of belonging, a deep-seated peace that radiated from him. Rocky, who had been abandoned and left for dead, was now safe, warm, and loved. His past fading into a distant nightmare, a forgotten shadow. Emma felt a warmth spread through her chest, a feeling far deeper and more profound than the heat from the fireplace. It was the warmth of knowing she had made a difference, of witnessing a life reborn, a spirit healed, a soul finding its place. The little beagle, once a symbol of despair and neglect, was now a beacon of hope, a living testament to the power of compassion and the enduring strength of the human-animal connection, a true miracle. The next morning, Rocky woke up, stretched luxuriously, his small body uncoiling with newfound energy, a picture of canine contentment, and then, instead of hiding or cowering, he padded over to Emma's side of the bed, nudging her hand with his nose, a gentle invitation to start the day. When Emma opened her eyes, Rocky's tail gave a tentative, happy wag, a clear sign of his newfound comfort and trust, a joyful greeting that brightened the room. He was no longer just a rescue. He was a companion, a friend, a cherished member of the family, a constant source of quiet joy. The transformation was not just physical, it was emotional, a complete, beautiful shift from a life of fear and uncertainty to one of profound relief, gratitude, and unconditional love, a true second chance. As the days turned into a week, and then two, Rocky's personality began to blossom, revealing a playful, affectionate spirit that had been hidden beneath layers of fear and neglect. He explored the house with a newfound confidence, his little tail wagging constantly, a blur of happy motion, discovering every nook and cranny. He would bring Emma his favorite squeaky toy, a well-loved rubber bone, dropping it at her feet, inviting her to play, his eyes bright with anticipation, a silent request for interaction. The dedicated veterinary technician, who had always found solace and purpose in her work, now found an even deeper, more vibrant joy in the playful antics and unwavering affection of her new companion, a joy that filled her home. The decision about permanent care was no longer a question, no longer a consideration. It was an undeniable truth, a certainty that settled deep in Emma's heart, a bond forged in kindness. Emma looked at Rocky, curled up on the sofa beside her, a picture of utter contentment, a small, furry embodiment of peace, a testament to the power of a safe home. She knew, with absolute certainty, that she couldn't let Rocky go. This little dog, who had stumbled into her life from the harsh grip of the storm, had filled a space Emma hadn't even known was empty, bringing a warmth and vibrancy she hadn't realized she was missing, a profound sense of completeness. Rocky was home, his forever home. The bond was sealed, not with words, but with countless shared moments of quiet companionship, playful joy, and profound unspoken understanding, a connection that transcended species. The transformation was complete, a testament to the power of a single act of compassion. Rocky, once a forgotten shadow, was now a vibrant, beloved member of Emma's family. Their journey, which began in the desolate grip of a thunderstorm, had blossomed into a beautiful, enduring partnership. A story of hope and second chances. The quiet house, once a sanctuary of solitude for Emma, had, in the weeks following Rocky's rescue, transformed into a vibrant home, filled with the undeniable presence of a new, cherished family member. The initial relief of salvation had deepened into a profound, unwavering connection. Rocky, no longer just a survivor, had become a constant, comforting shadow, his small presence a powerful anchor in Emma's daily life. He would often pad silently into Emma's home office, settling beneath her desk, his soft snores a gentle rhythm to Emma's paperwork, a silent declaration of his devotion. This was the definitive proof of their bond, a connection that transcended words, forged in the crucible of shared vulnerability and profound compassion. It was an eternal bond, forged in the crucible of despair, now a testament to their unbreakable connection, a true family in every sense of the word. Rocky's gratitude was evident in countless small, unique examples. Every morning he would greet Emma with an excited whimper and a full-body wag, a symphony of pure joy, a daily celebration of his rescuer's return. He would bring Emma his favorite squeaky toy, a humble offering of devotion, dropping it gently at her feet, then looking up with bright, expectant eyes. One evening, as Emma was reading aloud from a particularly engaging novel, her voice a soothing murmur in the quiet room, Rocky, who had been dozing peacefully by the fireplace, suddenly lifted his head, his ears swiveling towards Emma's voice, as if captivated by the story. He then slowly, deliberately, rose and padded over, not just resting, but nestling himself firmly against Emma's side on the sofa, his small body a warm, comforting weight, as if listening intently to every word. It was a profound gesture of active loyalty and companionship, a silent acknowledgement of the deep comfort and safety Emma provided, a true partnership. Emma paused her reading, a lump forming in her throat, gently stroking Rocky's soft fur. This was more than just a pet. This was family, in the truest, most profound sense. The thought of finding Rocky another home, of even considering adoption, became impossible for Emma. She realized, with a warmth spreading through her chest, that Rocky was already home, her home. The quiet moments, the shared glances, the unspoken understanding. These were the threads that wove their lives together, creating a tapestry of unconditional love that transcended words. The decision was made, not with a grand declaration, but with the quiet certainty that settles deep in the heart. Rocky was staying. He was a permanent fixture, a beloved member of the family. The transformation from a shivering, abandoned dog to a thriving, joyful companion was complete, and the bond between Emma and Rocky was now unbreakable. Their journey, which began in the harsh grip of a thunderstorm, had blossomed into a beautiful, enduring partnership. Share your own rescue story, or the moment that touched your heart the most, as you watch this transformation in the comments. Each comment inspires our community of rescuers and creates real connections between people who believe in the power of compassion. 3 weeks later, the crumbling, abandoned building felt like a distant, faded memory, replaced by the warmth and security of a loving home. 3 weeks later, the crumbling, abandoned building felt like a distant, faded memory, replaced by the warmth and security of a loving home. Rocky, once a trembling shadow, a ghost of a dog, now bounded through Emma's sun-drenched backyard, his beagle fur gleaming, his tail a blur of joyous motion, a living testament to his rebirth. His once injured paw, now fully healed, allowed him a confident, playful stride, and his happy barks echoed with pure delight as he chased a frisbee, a picture of unadulterated contentment, a true embodiment of happiness. He was thriving, secure in his beloved home, a truly transformed soul, a testament to the power of a second chance, a miracle unfolding every single day, a joy to behold. Every evening, Rocky would curl up by Emma's feet as they watched TV, a soft, purr-like rumble in his chest, his eyes half closed in pure contentment, completely at ease, utterly relaxed. The fear that had once consumed him was entirely gone, replaced by an unwavering sense of belonging, and peace that radiated from his small body. He no longer startled at sudden noises. Instead, he would simply lift his head, his ears twitching, then settle back down, completely at ease, trusting his surroundings implicitly, knowing he was safe. His playful nips were gentle, his cuddles abundant, and his presence a constant source of quiet joy and profound comfort for Emma, a silent, loving companion. This was lasting happiness, a deep, abiding peace, a testament to the profound impact of compassion and unconditional love, a bond that grew stronger with each passing day. Emma often found herself smiling, a genuine, heartfelt smile that reached her eyes as she watched Rocky explore, play, or simply nap in a patch of warm sunlight, a scene of pure domestic bliss. The little dog had brought so much light, so much life, so much unexpected joy into her quiet, orderly world, transforming it in ways she never imagined. Rocky was not just rescued. He was truly reborn, a vibrant, happy dog living the life he so richly deserved, a life filled with warmth, safety, and boundless affection, a true success story. Their story was a powerful reminder that even in the bleakest, most desperate circumstances, hope can emerge. a light can pierce the darkness and an unbreakable bond can form, turning strangers into family, transforming lives forever, leaving an indelible mark. This story of Emma and Rocky is more than just a narrative. It is a beacon of hope, a testament to the incredible, transformative power of human kindness and the indomitable resilience of the animal spirit. It shows us unequivocally that a single act of compassion, a moment of courage, can create a profound ripple effect, transforming not just one life, but two, intertwining destinies in the most beautiful way, creating a bond that will last an eternity. It reminds us that heroes walk among us every day, often in the most ordinary of professions, in the most unexpected places, and that second chances are not just possible, but are waiting to be given, waiting to be embraced, waiting to change lives. Like this story, if it touched your heart, if it filled you with hope, if it reminded you of the good in the world, subscribe to Eternal Bonds for more incredible rescues, for more stories of courage, compassion, and transformation. And please, share this with someone who believes in second chances, who believes in the power of love, and who understands the profound connection between humans and animals. Your support helps us share more life-changing content and inspire more acts of compassion around the globe, spreading hope one rescue at a time. Our next rescue story proves, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that miracles happen when compassion meets courage. Stay tuned. You won't want to miss it, as another life is rescued and reborn.